For a couple of things here. First off, you should be able to see me in there, right? Red, orange, and yellow guy. Sorry, fellas, but I'm the hottest thing in the video. That's how that's going to go. Yes, because I'm the only one inside the video. And again, I like to get smiles to make sure you guys are going to have a good time. That's why I have to crack jokes. We're looking for blue and black spots, like literally. That's what we're looking for, either to take shape or to start moving on their own. I also set this up with a blue dot that's bouncing around the screen. The blue dot is giving you the coldest spot in the frame at that particular moment. So again, it's helping to guide your eye when you get your full video back. We are going to do a few starts and stops with this just because as great as the hardware is, the software sucks. If we record for too long, we're going to lose footage. So with that, Eli, this one's going to go to you, sir.
Well, I have a question.
Yes.
Is this like Phasmophobia? Have you ever played that?
I know what it is. I am probably going to go beyond what Phasmophobia does.
Okay, cool.
You're recording though, so probably stop recording.
No, he's good.
Okay.
I want him recording. So again, I like to kind of at least get the first 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll kind of do a quick start and stop. So for those of you unfamiliar with Phasmophobia, that is a video game with EMF detectors and a spirit box.
Yep.
You have to keep in mind, I'm going to be breaking out 6 different spirit boxes, and we're going to have way more than just EMF. So this one, I know, a little Ghostbustery. So you should not be able to see me in this pretty dark camera. It's a little tiny GoPro. Yes, I'm showing you a black screen. It's kind of dull and boring, right? So turn on some lights. We're working with infrared lighting here. I just lit up 24 infrared lights. These are lights you cannot see with your own eyes. So the hope here is that we're going to be able to capture something we normally would not be able to see with our own eyes. So again, for those of you that missed where the lights came from, so we have a torch at the top, and then there's 4 lights attached to the camera itself. This guy loves to capture orbs. Normally when I have my full groups of 10, sometimes 11, I'll break out laser grids to go along with this to kind of detect any motion that's going on. But with 9 people, the laser grid portion is the least, I guess, exciting device we have. So we are not going to be using the laser grids with this. So Nate, I'm actually going to go with you on this one. Did it stop already? Just want to make sure it's going to continue recording. Go ahead and grab that handle. And it's got a little bit of weight to it. Don't be afraid of it. So nice slow movements out of you all night long. And we will be talking more about your cameras as we kind of go through. Spirit boxes. Like I said, we're going to be using several different styles of spirit boxes tonight. So, in a nutshell, you taking pictures?
Yeah.
Of course he is. So, spirit boxes, if you're unfamiliar with them, they're basically a radio sweeper, and it's the white noise that you would normally capture on your TV shows, right? And then your host is going to tell you what he thinks he heard and put it up in the middle of the screen, trying to convince you of the same thing. Now, we're going to be doing this in real time. However, these are slowed down on purpose. None of you are trained to listen to white noise for 2 hours. Somebody's going to fall asleep. Like, with the history I'm going to give in 2 hours of white noise, yeah, somebody's going to be zonked out. So I slowed them down on purpose, allowing the radio chatter to come through. So song lyrics, DJs, and commercials will come through this device. That's what we're listening for. It's a 50-50 shot that if we can make out whatever the DJ is saying, I can tie it to the location, a person in history we're discussing, or even something going on with one of you. It happens pretty much on a nightly basis. So with this guy, it is already recording. So Sophia, you're going to be the only one to hear it in real time. You're going to have an earbud in. And I don't want earbuds back because your earwax is gross, no matter how cute you are. So with that said, everybody's going to get this recording back tomorrow morning. So with whichever she hears in real time, I will be writing everything down, and it will go in your notes. I'm going to spot check this recording tomorrow morning and give you about 15 to 20 more markers of things that I captured in the middle of this recording as well. So again, you get to keep those. I don't want them back. Undo your twist tie. Your volume button is right here.
And just keep one of them in?
Just keep one of them in, so that way you can actually share it with somebody else in between spaces. I actually used 2 of these specifically. However, Glenn, this one's not going to record. So I'm going to be relying on you in real time to whatever we capture. If I give you guys 4 hours of white noise, somebody's going to hunt me down and kill me from California. So again, I'm going to be relying on you so I can write those things down. Your earwax is also gross, so you get to keep these. And they're cheap headphones, so it's not like anything to brag about. So under your twist tie, your volume button is the wheel at the top, so I'm just making sure it's turned all the way down, and you're all set up. Let's see, which spirit box do we want to do next? Again, we use lots of them because we're going to hopefully make full sentences tonight between all the different spirit boxes. This one, pretty unique. This one actually gives us the words in the center of the screen from time to time. So in a nutshell, this is going to replace the obelisk of what you guys see on your TV shows. So So it's going to save all of the words to a word list with timestamps. Kind of helps direct me on what I need to listen to on the recordings, on the videos, that kind of thing. This is a phone app, which means 80% of this is going to be absolute garbage. I'm just going to put it out there right now. The other 20% is going to be relative to our space, the person, one of us. The same principle as all of the others. Last night they had 79 terms. That's about average for a 2-hour time frame. And this one, why am I losing your name? Maybe because you didn't say it loud enough. Tessa. So Tessa, this one's actually going to go to you. That's a nice easy one. So I'll show you more about that. I don't want to see every word that pops up. I'll come to you when we're going to review the list together. Is that fair? All right. The brand new device. Probably never even seen one of these because you're like my only enthusiast here. At least it looks that way. This actually just came out onto the market about 2 months ago. This is what they call an envoy. So basically it's going to have a cursor moving through all of the letters. Any EMF spike is going to stop the letters and give us a series of letters and possibly anagrams at the bottom of the screen. So I've been using this for about a week now, maybe 5 nights total. We haven't caught anything like super great substantially, but hopefully tonight is going to be our night. I figure because you're kind of already familiar with these type of things, that this brand new device, new to the field itself, would be more exciting for you. So again, we're going to be playing around with the sensitivities of that device at this point. You're getting another brand new device. Great. This spirit box is going to sweep through both FM and AM radio stations at the same time and try to take out the white noise in between the radio stations, thus only giving us words. You're only going to hear about 10 to 12 terms and phrases out of this the entire night. Okay. That's about the average. So again, this is about 75% accurate just due to the lower amount of things we actually hear that come out of it. The only thing you need to worry about with this guy is how to hold it, because it's already preset with the auto noise canceling feature. The blinking lights are the top. On your right hand side is a mute button. So that's the only button you're going to need to worry about. Actually, I think I want to actually turn the auto noise canceling lights down a little bit. There we go. So we're going to get little tiny blips out of this from time to time. I'm going to put it on mute for right now, just because we're going to be passing by some horses and they don't like the white noise. Let's see.
You hear that?
You guys picking stuff up already?
Alright, you guys have seen these on TV. You've also seen these on Phasmagoria or Phasma, I can't remember even how to say it.
Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia. So, again, I don't play it. I play other things. So, with that, this is pretty much a necessity for our tour. So, we use this to debunk a lot of things. Any kind of parking meters, any kind of electrical wiring, any kind of buildings, that kind of thing. So I already have the colors memorized on this guy, but because it is super simple, there's no button pushing, no watching anything other than colors, you're going to have 2 jobs. And I normally don't hand this device to anybody under the age of 18 because they don't know what the hell it is. So this is a digital camera. So, I know, right? So, you're going to be taking pictures for us all night long. There's no flash on this guy, so whenever you're taking photographs, nice and still. So we never know what's going to show up on these. You could take 5 pictures, you could take 500. I'm going to go through every single one of them no matter how dark they are. So again, the screen is obviously on right now. The shoot button is very obvious. If it powers down because of no activity, because you didn't take any pictures, the power button is right next to it. So it's very easy to use. So you're actually double-fisted. Look at you. Last but not least, you're my multitasker.
Okay.
So this guy, this is what we call a millimeter. So a millimeter is actually going to measure 3 different things for us. It also has an electromagnetic field meter in it, so it's going to measure any kind of electrical current in the air. So anything above 2.5 on that top number, I want to know what's going on so that way we can try to debunk it first or see if we actually have something going on. Okay. The bottom is ambient temperature. In the event that Eli finds something on his camera, you and I can debunk it or prove it with the little yellow ambient probe at the top. It's measuring ambient temperature based on the little antenna sticking off the top. Last but not least, it has a motion sensor built into it. If anything gets close to that antenna, it's gonna go off. I'm not touching it, just so you know. I'm touching it now. Okay. So I'm gonna show you more about the motion sensor at the first stop that we're actually going to use it. So for now, I'm gonna turn it off so you can kind of get used to the numbers on your screen.
Okay, so the top, this one, 2.5.
2.5 and higher.
Okay.
All right, everybody's geared up, yes?
Nope.
All right, Tessa's in charge. Let me know what happens. No, I'm kidding. She just got really worried. So, you're going to have questions, I promise.
Yeah.
So, what's your question?
So Okay, so this is basically just like where the blue dot, where it's just blue and black. That's, do I like tell you when it is blue and black?
No,
Or,
not
okay.
necessarily. Because if somebody like us is going to be in view, because I'm going to be, you know, the warmest thing out here because I'm a person, I should be about 97 to 99 degrees. You're going to have blue and black in there. We're looking for changes in shape or for the blue and black to start moving on their own.
Okay.
Now, when you're moving around, because we're going to be investigating spaces, that blue dot just helps direct everybody else's eye when they're watching your video of where those cold spots might be. Like, I found a very small anomaly, about 13-degree difference from the ambient temperature last night's video. But it was very quick and very subtle. So again, it's a matter of like, it wasn't near anything where it should have been, so we're going to talk more about your device at the next stop.
Okay.
Perfect. See how we answer quick questions? Nice.
Oh, also,
What are these numbers?
Those are the radio stations.
So this is a radio.
Exactly. You're listening for DJ song lyrics and commercials.
And if it sounds like a lot of like breaking up, that's like the main sound.
If
That's
you
normal.
hear a car commercial that says, buy a Kia today, I want to know that you heard buy a Kia today. Because the word buy might actually mean something to the location of where we are. If you hear the song Drop It Like It's Hot, I want to know that you heard the lyric Drop It Like It's Hot. There may have been a fire at the location we're at. Does that make more sense now? Because again, we're going to be looking for very, very specific things. So, with that said,
do I keep this recording the whole time?
I'm going to give you the cues for the starts and stops.
Okay. Should I keep it right now? Just
Yes, you're going to keep it on right now.
Okay.
Oh, I'm hearing a song.
Yeah, as you should. It's the radio. You shouldn't be like hearing the whole song right now. You should be going through all of the radio stations very quickly. Can I see your screen? Yeah, it's moving, so you shouldn't be hearing all of one song.
Is it changing?
You should be changing radio stations. Okay. Just want to make sure before we actually keep it rolling, because you have the one that's recording, right? Yes.
I think so.
All right. So there's a reason why we start here. Of course there is. The place is haunted. Big John's behind me. This place used to be owned by a football player. His name was Big John Kennedy. Now you know why it was named Big John's. He played for the 1947 New York Giants. Whenever I'm giving you the history of a location, I will always do my best to slow down on specific common keywords that we get at that location. Keywords here are going to be 47, New York, Giants, anything relatable to a bar, and the name John, obviously. But anyway, here's why the place is haunted. John used to sit at the back of the bar, and he would tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, two guys came in. They weren't old enough to drink. He has the bartender throw them out, and they left pretty angry. They came back the next night, and they tried to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John saw what was going on, and he slams down his beer, and he gets up, and he starts beating the heck out of these guys, just pounding them right into the floor. A couple of gunshots went off. John gets grazed in the neck, but the bullet landed behind him in the wall. John gets up after being the only one that's been shot, by the way. He goes back to the bar and tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the two guys on the floor, an ambulance. Now, normally if I tell you a building is haunted, you automatically think of some kind of tragic death that occurred here. However, what's haunting the place is the bullet hole. It's allegedly still here. I say allegedly because we don't know if the renovation of Big John's filled it in. Even if they did, Big John's blood is still in this building. People that sit in the front of this bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, or headache. It's part of the reason why we started here. This is your heated warning. Fingers crossed we're going to be dealing with paranormal activity tonight. The ghosts are not on the payroll. I have no idea what's about to happen because I can't make them do anything. However, if anybody feels any of those symptoms, we're always going to blame our weather first, heat and humidity. You guys probably are definitely not used to our humidity over here, so especially coming from California.
Right.
So again, we're always, not everything's going to be paranormal, but I will always move the group to get that one person to safety for safety's sake. Is that fair to everybody? Okay, figured as much. We got kids on the tour, we got to make sure everybody's good. So, big earthquake here in 1886, which is part of the reason why I asked you guys earlier, like, what other tours are you taking? So that way I kind of know your base knowledge of Charleston. We all talk about this big earthquake of 1886 because you're in South Carolina. We're not supposed to have earthquakes. We're supposed to have hurricanes. So the reason I bring this up is because the building, Big John's, is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. The white mantle you see in the middle of the building, a piece of it broke off in the front of the building, hit somebody in the back of the head and killed them. But they say you can see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night. I say apparently and allegedly a lot because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue so you guys aren't thinking about getting sick on the tour, even though I just brought it up again. So, is everybody ready to go ghost hunting?
Yes,
Get
sir.
off this loud street corner so it doesn't feel like I'm shouting at you guys. All right, we're actually going to go this way, so I'm going to cut up in between you guys.
Look at mine. I get the cool one. I get a cool one. I get like cool lights.
All right. So, go ahead and hit your stop button and then restart it back. Welcome to your first stop, everybody. Carrie, do you have any letters showing up, by the way?
None.
Nothing so far. Okay, good. I just want to keep tabs on it so when it gets full, I almost want to take a picture of it so that way I can have it for anagram references. So welcome to the Big Red Barn Lodge. This place is, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time here. This is just so we can talk more about your devices and I can answer more questions. This is where we keep some of the horses for your carriage rides. So then I say some of them because we have multiple carriage companies in Charleston. But they can hear us, so that's why we use earbuds with the spirit boxes and why I ask that the other ones stay on mute. But the history here is really simple. This is the same red barn that held horses that used to deliver milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. So keywords here, obviously delivery, milk, eggs, anything relatable to a stable. Obviously we had the word horse show up last night, so that was an easy reference, like it popped up right away. So, you guys have a lot of communication devices. What do you think the first question is everybody wants to ask when they get a communication device to dead people, including a Ouija board? What's what everybody wants to ask? Come on, Gwen, you know this one. I see you looking around like who's going to answer. Really? You guys have never seen a board?
Is it gonna follow us?
Who are you?
Who are you? Is it going to follow us? What else? Let's think simpler.
Are you friendly?
Are you friendly? We'll take that one. So if somebody answers no, that means somebody isn't friendly. Or they might actually be friendly. But the first question everybody usually wants to ask, especially to a Ouija board, is anybody here? Right?
Oh, yeah,
so,
yeah.
If somebody hears no,
Yeah.
that means somebody's here, is usually the example I make. So again, it was supposed to kind of lighten things up for you guys, and you guys went all off the way curve. So again, like overthinking, we're supposed to have fun, right? I know I'm pretty serious, but this is my career here. So with that said, normally when I'm teaching people how to use spirit boxes and a communication device, I tell them to ask questions they know the answers to kind of verify what's actually going on around them. For an example, if somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is. Obviously, we are looking and listening for the color red. Who did I give the word list to? So Tessa, so let's say, Tessa's not listening. She's only watching for words. But the rest of you are using song lyrics and DJs to be able to convey messages back to us, and the word red might not be available to them to be able to answer us directly. But fire truck, blood, heart, all three of those things are specifically red. I would take that as an acceptable answer. What color is the big red barn? Blood. I'm good. However, most of the night, I'm going to require that there's at least two things going on to be able to at least come remotely close to being called or labeled paranormal. Another example. Let's say Tessa's word list has the word art on it. That doesn't mean anything to us over here, especially since we were just talking about football players. But Gwen here's the number 40 on her spirit box. Now together, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. Do you guys see where we're going to be putting the clues together all night long? So a lot of these people we're going to be discussing tonight are going to be from the 17 and 1800s. They all have the same damn names. So Johns and Georges, we need to know who the heck we're talking to. That's why we always look for the secondary verifier. You're going to hear me use that term a lot tonight.
It says Joe's. Jose.
That's Jose.
Oh, my bad.
So again, a very specific name. So I'll check the roster of football players and see if there's a Jose. And then we'll obviously see if there's a number or something corresponding with a Jose from that team. So cameras. There's three of you working with cameras tonight. So all three of you, first and foremost, we're going to be in areas just like this where there's going to be parked vehicles and people passing by. People do not like their cars to be filmed or pictures being taken of, and people don't like to be filmed themselves. They think we're vlogging out here, creating a YouTube channel, which is funny because all of the videos go to YouTube anyway. But at the same time, they don't know what we're doing. So again, if I do it, Andy's coming, that means basically, Nate, you're going to point your camera to the ground because obviously you're the most obvious type of camera with the biggest one that we actually have. Eli, you're playing with a cell phone, so that's part of the reason why I gave that one to you. It's much easier to kind of hide it. And then of course, Sabrina, you can be the tourist all night long. You've got a camera.
Mom,
You're
I almost have a fanny pack.
So let's talk about these cameras. So to kind of elaborate a little bit with yours, so you're going to try to do two things. I know I just told you not to film other people, but I do want you to try to keep one of us in view at all times. Our skin temperature is the warmest thing out here, no matter how humid it is. So it's going to give us that nice array of color, because if I leave the screen and you're filming the wall, it's going to automatically turn red when it should be blue behind me right now because I'm in shot of your camera. So try to keep one of us in view. The other thing you're going to try to do is keep the sky out of view. The reason for that is that blue dot I told you all about earlier is looking for surfaces to measure. There's no surface on the sky, and it is the coldest area in the frame. So again, if you can, keep the sky out. That will be impossible during some locations, just so you know. Nice slow movements out of yours. That's the only thing I really have since we're not using lasers with yours tonight. When I say let's go ahead and cut those off, you're going to hit the top button all the way to the right on the top of the camera. And I can see the blinking light on the front that shows us that it is recording. So I'm going to continue it going. We'll kind of keep it running a little bit as we go into the next spot. I think the only other thing I need to worry about, where did that millimeter go? Let me give a millimeter to. No, you have a spirit box. LARISSA. So I will going to work with you a little bit more at our next spot, which is the first stop. We're going to use that motion sensor.
Okay.
Are you guys ready to get away from football players and ponies? Because I want to deep dive into much deeper history than this.
Me too.
So I just want you to know.
2.5. Okay. And then I'll ask you to escalate it in certain areas. So like the next base we're going to can escalate pretty high. So I don't want to be writing down pages and pages of numbers.
Okay.
So I'll say, oh, we got a 2.5, we have a 3.6, and then another 2.7. I don't want the 2.7.
Okay.
I want to keep going above 3.6.
Okay. So I don't have to push anything or do
Nope.
anything. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to show you how to work that motion sensor, which you will have to push something with
okay.
that, but you'll be fine. Again, I set up everything super easy.
Yeah.
So that way you guys can have fun and don't have to worry about mechanics.
So when I just see like a blue and black spot, like moving,
Like
Yeah.
in shape of a person,
Okay.
in shape of something like 15
when there's
degrees
actually not a
colder,
person there, and like,
when there's not actually a person there.
okay, that's pretty easy. Yeah, but Tessa, that's a phone app. Tessa, it's a phone app. It's a phone app, so not all of it's real.
Alright, so Tessa, just so you know, the game we're playing with yours, again, most of it is not going to mean anything. So I will work with you once we're all done with the history here, because after I'm done with Mom?
Yeah.
Okay, once I'm done with Mom and showing her how to use hers, then I'll work with you on how to, that way you know what's actually going on. What do you got now?
3.7. It was 3.7.
And do we have any colors on the K2? Sabrina, you got any colors back there?
I went back to 2.9.
3.7 and 2.9. Okay, so remind me to write down 3.7 and 2.9.
Okay.
Let me know if it goes above that 3.7.
Okay.
So, welcome to your first weird space, everybody. You made it to a parking lot. Congratulations. I told you I'd be taking you to spaces that other ghost tours won't go to. Nobody comes here. So, what is this place? This used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion. It actually sat in the front of this space facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant over there and came all the way across. And then the servant and slave quarters were in the back of the space. So, first off, all of you spirit boxes, I am not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the big red barn. You're going to get the answers from your spirit boxes, and yes, I'm going to withhold information purposely. So that way everybody has a genuine experience. Is that fair to everybody? Again, I'm not here to make anything up. I want you guys to actually find this stuff for yourselves. So, let's go through the quick history of what this place is. Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses, in case you lost track. Now you know why we look for the secondary verifiers. We need to know which Chuck we're chatting with. So, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. It's a pretty big deal for us, but I hate politics, and we're going to move on. Just because if I don't mention it, what's weird is it actually will come up somewhere, and you would think I would do that purposely, right, Kiri? But I'm not going to. I have to mention it because it is a part of our history. We're going to talk about Eliza. Way cooler story. Eliza marries Charles at a young age according to today's standards. If you ask her, once we separate, how old she was when she got married, you are not going to hear numbers like 12 and 14 like the colonial times that she came from. Think of today's standards. The reason I bring this up is because Charles was over double her age when they married. Kind of a creepy age gap back then, creepy age gap now. So just kind of keep that in the back of your brains. But she married Charles because her father was over in England, and he's trying to bring all of his children home. He wants to see them because he thinks he's dying. Eliza didn't believe he was dying, so she got married instead. It's 1744. You don't get married in 1744 for a green card. You get married in 1744 because you're in love. We're not even a country. You can't even get a green card. There's no such thing yet. But anyway, she was correct. Her dad did not die right away, and he starts sending gifts from England to this space. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been in town for a few hours that I know of. You've seen the word indigo somewhere, I can promise you that. indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. Some of you are actually wearing it tonight. That's what we use it for now. They didn't have denim back then, but you kind of get the gist. When she got these indigo seeds, though, she didn't know what to do with them. She had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated, because it's not always hot here. So when she figured it out, she moves it to another plantation just south of here by the Stono River. Calls her father and says, rice plantations are going downhill. We can make a killing with this indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial times. Something absolutely unheard of. So, nice diesel. So, that's her business. Let's get into the weird stuff, which is why you all are here. So, Carrie, with your device, because it's brand new, I want you to pick up on whatever questions I assign to anybody else. So whatever kind of floats your boat, I'm just playing experimentation with your device tonight. So we're going to go right down the line. So Dave, with your device, I want you, like when you get it unmuted and once we're all separated, I'm going to have you focus on what happened to the mansion. It's obviously not here. If you get an answer, when did that happen? Obviously, these are non-yes or no questions. We're going after specific details. Eliza Pinckney, her married name before she was Pinckney started with the letter L. That's called her maiden name. I don't know if you're aware of what that is, but you can ask Eliza what her name was before she married Charles, and hopefully you'll get the answer. We're going to keep things nice and simple with yours because you seem like you're a little nervous, so we're going to help you out with that. Let's see, the children on your end, Sophia. I want you to ask how many children there were and what their names were. Nothing else. The reason I say that is because there is a tragedy among those children. If we poke the bear, the little bit of EMF that we're already getting, that thing will bottom out to zero and all activity will stop. Don't poke the bear, we'll all know it's you. No, I'm kidding. It's a joke, like I'm not that serious. But again, I have seen that in the past where somebody's like, yeah, I started asking about that tragedy and all of a sudden everything stops. And there's no point in us staying here, so we have to move on. Gwen, with your device. Eliza's death. How old she was, what she died from, where she's buried, what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So again, if you guys decide to go rogue with your asking of questions, make sure they're non-yes or no questions and something we can actually prove. You can't prove how somebody felt. Just say, how did you feel about your marriage to Charles? The only thing that we can do to actually have that is Carrie's device actually has emojis on it. There's a mode on there for emojis. It's stupid. We're not using it. And there's also a yes-no on there, which to me is too easy. I don't want yes-nos. We want specifics. I'm hoping to get some spelled words out of that tonight. So cameras, you kind of get the gist of we're not going to be filming cars. We are fortunate enough that it is Sunday night and there's only 2 cars in here. Last night, there wasn't a space available, so it limited all of us to the center of the space. So with that said, I'm going to spread you guys out, turn up your spirit boxes. Dave, you're going to have to unmute yours to get it to be heard. Video cameras don't film cars. We do not go in between vehicles either. So where's the millimeter? So Larissa, I got to work with you. I'm going to keep you behind. Everybody else, let's spread out. And I'm going to be bouncing around with all of you to see what's going on with your devices and taking notes. So you can hang out too with us if you want to.
This one is anytime it bounces above this.
Yeah, what do you got?
It's chip frog.
It's chip chippings.
This camera is so laggy, it's so hard to see.
just wanted to know. Thank
That's
you.
funny, yeah.
Scientific.
Alright, what are you hearing on yours?
5 kids?
No.
Shoot. Well, I heard 5,000, so I just interpreted that as 5.
And that's normally what I would do. So you heard the number 5 because it falls in the number 5,000. So again, but you heard something, which is good.
I heard a lot of gibberish too. I was like, what are your 5 kids' names?
Supposed to be asking questions as I'm walking around.
You can. I mean, I would just say with yours, you could just test it, or if you want to ask questions, ask questions.
Scientific.
Okay. Yeah, they were walking and noticed it. Yeah,
Liza, light up the blue light. She's not listening. Oh, wait.
What do you got coming out there?
Health,
Okay.
water, J control,
Wow, you got a lot going on that.
Miranda, Lucy.
What's funny, the reason my eyes lit up with Miranda is I was just talking to my friend Miranda at the candy shop.
Oh my
I was
gosh,
like, oh, that's not an name you hear all the time, especially coming out of you guys. You know, things that you heard. So what was the first time that you heard?
I got it up to 80 point. It went 80.1. Yeah, and then it was like at 30 something, like there.
This one gets so heavy.
That's, yeah, I'm going to explain those readings before we leave. I missed so I have Lucy, Miranda, and Water. Oh, Help was
Help.
the other one. Yeah.
And then in the name of water, Lucy, Miranda.
Yep. Wow, you're doing great with that. Like, normally 10 or 12 terms total the whole night.
Really?
Yeah, you just gave me 5.
Don't train me one.
Is this one like the least active? Like you barely see them?
Not necessarily, but it is a matter of like when we do find something on that camera, it is a holy cow moment.
Oh,
and
it
it's
is?
not always caught in real time. It's normally about the review the next day. So that's why I don't always follow up with the cameras, because I'm going to blow it up on YouTube for you guys, so you guys can watch it however you want to. I'm going to watch it on a nice big computer screen, so that way I don't miss anything. So that's why I don't always follow up with the cameras in real time. But to watch that technology is absolutely amazing.
So are you gonna tell us if something happens too?
Yeah, of course.
Nice.
All right, good.
How many kids did you have? This could swim.
Jimtific.
Not easy to do, is it?
No.
Is this the camera right there? It's
Yep.
right there. Okay.
Yep. Yep, so you're perfect. Just a
Okay.
broken arm. Let me see your word list, Tessa. Let me see what you got going on. Charlie.
See if you can switch hands. Putting a lot of load on that one here.
He said that most of the time it's just back in the recording where you find it. And I'm pretty sure it's only like that. It's because when you get close. Dad. You think he would let us switch for a little if he's not on his new time?
That's it.
do you have going on with that?
It's back down. It's like point. It was
Reset?
like 0. It was like one time that it was like jumped up into like really high numbers, like 36.
Yeah, and you said you had 80.1.
80.1. And then it just like went back down.
Do you get anything over here? Like that's
Yeah.
why I asked about the utility. Like, is there something underground that would cause it? Like, if it's a
What's
perfect
weird is
little
when
line?
we get them that high, they're sometimes mostly found like in the center.
Like
Okay.
it just went on 5.9, then it went back down
Back
to
to the 0.
I have a question. Can me and my dad switch things for a bit? Or... Okay.
Oh,
If
here,
he's
no,
willing
it
to.
just went to 9.6, and
That-
then it goes back down.
He
to
said we could
You want to switch?
for a bit. Because I like mine.
What am I supposed to do?
You hold it like that. The camera is right there.
Right?
Yeah, just like that.
Girlfriend!
And then you can put blue and black spots. Don't aim it at the sky. It like moves, like where it's like moving.
Okay.
Whenever like it gets cold, if you and I haven't like made anything out of it, you're gonna turn it off and then just turn it back on. It's like a quarter turn, give you back to the electric catch up. So now we can start off fresh, right? Alright, let's get everybody to the back now that everybody has a good gist of what your guys' devices do.
He said that it's usually found on like when you look back on it.
I'm just gonna start singing to the ghost. Maybe
Well, I just
that's
heard this
how
on
they'll be
YouTube.
too.
Alright, so go ahead and put that loud spirit box on mute. Those of you with video cameras, go ahead and stop your video, give your cameras a break, give your hands a break.
Eli, how do I stop
Alright,
this?
so
You don't. Oh. Wait, hold on.
that is the stop button. Oh, that is the stop button. Yeah, the
Okay, hold
infrared
that for a
button
second.
is in the front. So yeah, you just want to tap it.
Wait, ask him if he wants him to stop.
Yes,
There you
he
go.
said stop the
Done.
camp recording.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see the red light. I put 10 and it rings out the recording. It's a happy song at least. We'll take that, right? Alright, so hopefully we get more out of it this way. I am going to keep you guys against this wall so you can kind of get a gist of like the alley behind me. Kind of gives the story a little bit better of a feel to it. Those of you with cameras, go ahead and record the alley behind me, but be very discreet. The reason I say that is because, again, it is residential at the end, and other tours will be passing through there. So, again, Dave, when I say Andy's coming, you're going to drop yours real low, just so we don't have that mentality. You're in a perfect spot next to the belly. That's what most people do with that. So this is called Philadelphia Alley behind me. That's what we all know it by now, but it used to be called Dueller's Alley. So this is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. We all tell the same story of the same duel, but I tell it differently because you're ghost hunting. You need a little bit more detail than what the normal campfire ghost story tours tell. So here's how this one goes. There's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. So, yeah, we had the name Amanda show up on the word list earlier. Again, relatively close. We're going to take it, make sure there's another relative term to match it up with as we kind of go through. At this point, it's just coincidence, so we'll take it as that. Now, Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney that's helping her out with all of the cash. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money, so he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. So to prove that he's not after Amanda's money, the doctor moves to Charleston. As he's coming into town, the coachman that brought him in set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a very good start to his stay in Charleston. But somebody was walking by and seen what was about to go down. His name was Ralph Isaacs. I'm going to stop on Ralph because we're ghost hunting. Initials mean something. Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. RI shows up here a lot, and especially with the new device, I'm hoping it's going to show up even more. But that's 2 clues, 2 different characters. I need a secondary verifier, just so you guys know. But anyway, Ralph tells the doctor, you don't want to stay here, dude. I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you and take all your money. He's got a gunman inside. I got friends at 59 Church Street. You can stay there and you'll be safe. You'll be good to go. The doctor takes them up on the offer and they become friends. The longer the doctor stays in Charleston, you're getting all kinds of letters over there. The longer he stays here, the more money he's making, which means Amanda's moving down soon because he's proving his point that he wasn't after her money. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. I am here to tell you that every haunted city you will ever visit has a whistling ghost. It's a cliche, we all have one. There is proof of this one, just so you gotta get that mentality of it. We'll talk about that in a minute. But him and Ralph go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other. Why? The doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. So they talk about these plays on the way home. They go see Richard III from Shakespeare, and they're arguing over the new actress that was in town. The doctor thought she was fantastic, Ralph, not so much. It gets a little bit more heated when Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiance, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. They go their separate ways. Ralph, being from here, has friends at the newspaper. Calls his friends up, puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of like he's a disgrace to society kind of mentality. Dr. Ladd sees the ad and rebuttals with, let's go to Jeweler's Alley. We're going to settle this. So they come down, they take their 10 paces, they turn. The doctor pointed his gun in the air and he shot. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happened at a duel. But Ralph has his one shot and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. So the doctor doesn't die either. He falls to the ground and his friends pick him up, carry him home to 59 Church Street where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. This guy's a doctor. He probably tried to bleed it out himself. Just kind of keep that in mind. So the ghost part, the campfire campy part of this is that as you walk through the alley, you can actually hear the whistles from the doctor when you're ghost hunting with me. So I used to take my teams all the way through there, and it was all about listening through the voice recorder. So again, do I have whistles that I can't debunk? I do. However, if you're going to try this on your own and turn on your voice recorders from your phone, keep in mind every local knows this story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street on the other side is going to throw a whistle down the alley. I do it every single night. So we're going to end right there where that street light is, and my garage is right there. So I have to pass the alley every night. If my daughter's on the tour, it's kind of like a little game. Who's going to throw the whistle first down the alley? Just because I got kicked out of there. So let's talk about how that happened, because that's the fun part of the story, right? It's kind of nice that there's nobody down there. Hopefully we'll get some good footage. This alley didn't always go all the way through to the Cumberland Street side where we're standing right now. So that means that the bricks on the other side are older. Those bricks are sun-dried bricks from slave children. That means I had to pretty much turn them every hour to sun-dry them and bake them. There's a full handprint and fingerprint swipes in those bricks down at the end. And I would always show them off because it's part of our history and everybody needs to see it just to show how far we've come away from slavery. Because I'm sure you guys pick up I'm about history, right? So, one night, my entire group of 10, November 26th of 2020, decided they're going to huddle around that brick with the handprint in it and they're going to try to get a reading out of it. I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That kid is not staring at that brick in the afterlife. Well, that brick is right outside a gentleman's dining room window of his beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. And he was not happy with me night after night after night. He had had enough. So he came out screaming. My 15-year-old daughter thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at, and we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. It was November 27th of that year. Yes, these dates mean something. I'm getting to it. So I did not have a tour on Thanksgiving. I worked in retail for over 20 years. I finally took a break from Thanksgiving. The next day was November 28th. I got a phone call from the tourism office asking me to go down halfway, which is what we're allowed to do based on the ordinances here in Charleston, or to reroute my group. Well, I felt like it wasn't fair for my group of 10 to try to investigate half of an alley, which is an alley, a skinny space. And it's very popular, doesn't show that now, but you guys get my point. So I decided I'm going to reroute my group, and I told them flat out, I don't believe in the story that we're about to go through. I kind of gave them a gist of what happened that morning with the phone call, and I said, I'm going to tell you what I know, but we're going to see what happens as we go. Before we leave, somebody hears the name Anne on a spirit box. I did not tell them we were going to be investigating female pirate Anne Bonny. So I was like, all right, maybe we'll have something going on. We get up there, I told a little bit about pirates that I knew about in Charleston and kind of winged it, and somebody else hears the number 300. I didn't know what that meant until I did the research the next day. Turns out we were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. So, I keep taking you guys back up there in hopes that we're going to keep capturing more pirate lore. Now, I'm a vampire guy through and through, which is part of the reason why I didn't want to go into a pirate story, but we're in Charleston. If anything, because again, it's a hit or miss location. We're either going to have a lot going on or nothing going on. You're going to learn a whole hell of a lot about pirates that you guys ever wanted to dream about, because I had to read all the books, which means you guys have to, hear about it from me. So, and before we leave the space, do we have any crazy letters? Garbage. We're getting a lot of Z's out of it. I know you were focused on me. Tessa, what do you got going on with yours?
On those three, it's hold, left, and shepherd.
Left?
Yeah.
Ooh.
And then before that, she had separate, collect, penalty.
I'd have to look to see which leg Dr. Ladd was shot in.
95? Is that an important date?
No. The doctor died in 1786. Very interesting. But I'm definitely going to dive into what that left means, because it could have been the left leg that he was shot in. All right, let's go learn about pirates and see what we can get going on. Carrie, do we need to get a reset on that?
I just did.
Dad, you want to stay with the camera for a bit? I'm gonna try.
I'll switch. Whatever you want to do.
Okay, you just stay with it for a little longer. I want to try out this one.
So we actually got Nicholas's initials on the new envoy that Kiri has. So that showed up 2 or 3 nights ago. Wow, we're getting a lot now.
I know, it's lighting up. I can't make out it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it said Sophie.
Is it Sophie? Alright, so I'm excited about my name showing up because this is where it actually and by the way, you're probably going to start hearing religious terms like Bible, preacher, priest, church. We're near one of the biggest churches in Charleston. It happens all the time. Just so you guys kind of have that mentality. Tessa, did you have anything show up since we left that?
Robert.
Robert, she knew. Simple, keep, work, yours, old, left, shepherd.
Robert is interesting. All right, so first off, we're going to be discussing that little tiny building over there. That's the powder magazine. Those are not crosses on that building, just so everybody knows. Those are earthquake bolts. If nobody explained those to you, they're basically turnbuckles. So if we have another earthquake like what we did in 1886, which we haven't, you can turn the turnbuckles. You guys are all from California. Why the hell am I explaining an earthquake bolt deal? You guys know what these are, right?
We don't have her.
We don't have earthquake.
You don't have them anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So the whole point of it is that you can tighten them up on a turnbuckle, and it's supposed to straighten the building back up after the earthquake.
Right.
So I'm like, it just realized, like, dawned on me. Sorry about that. I'm like, wait a minute, I got all Californians here. I know what the hell these
Our
are.
houses are just built this way.
Yeah.
And buildings.
Yeah.
Like,
But don't you guys have like weird shifter plates underneath
Yeah.
them too?
rollers,
Yeah.
don't they?
Some have high rises have rollers,
The rollers.
mostly just steel and
Yeah, but
Yeah.
still, the technology it took to figure out earthquake bolts don't work, and let's put it on rollers. Like that's a whole different ballgame. And you guys have been seeing earthquake bolts all over town. You just probably didn't realize it because it's part of our Charleston charm.
Yeah.
It's lion heads and pineapples and all kinds of mess all over town.
Yeah,
So,
they're pointed on the
yeah, we have a lot of them. But the reason I point these ones out specifically, those very crude crosses over there, is because those are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston put in. Because this is the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. We are here because this building is familiar to the time frame that Anne Bonny came to Charleston to start her pirate career. So again, it's like using a toy to attract a child ghost. It's the same mentality. So we talked about those Charlestown walls earlier too, back in Lodge Alley. Does everybody remember that? So where that garage sits now is where the walls actually stood. So it went up past the powder magazine and started going south behind it. Locked the powder magazine into the corners of the wall on purpose. If it gets attacked from a pirate ship or revolutionary warship from the water, it's gonna have a hard time making it this far. First. Second, the walls are 32 inches thick. It's gonna have a hard time going through. If it does, let's pretend it goes all the way through. It blows up the gunpowder. There's sand in the roof that was put there during construction to go up in the air with the explosion and fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder. So the sand is still there because it's never been attacked, but that's another great idea that doesn't work either. So I seen they're like, oh, that's actually pretty clever. No, it's dumb. Here's why. We had another powder magazine closer to the battery. It did get hit. The sand went up. The building burned to the ground. It doesn't exist. This one's just never been hit, even though it has served 7 different wars and 1 rebellion. So, and it has served in the Civil War, which is probably one of the biggest wars it has served in. French and Indian as well, so we'll get those terms as well. But anyway, I digress. With that, we are here, again, because it's familiar. This building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? No, not at all. I'll answer for you. It's perfectly fine. But our story actually begins right in the middle of its construction. So, 1708, you guys are going to have to follow me. There's a couple twists on this one, and I'll slow down on the twists, just so you know. 1708, a young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormac. She moves here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Is everybody with me so far? The 3 of them are running away from his wife. How angry was she? Just going to put that out there. She got to leave her country in 1708. That's an angry woman. Now, they land in Georgetown, just north of here. That's between us and Myrtle Beach. You guys passed through it when you guys were coming back down here. So, Dad buys a plantation. Mom dies pretty quickly. That means he has to send young Anne down here to be able to sell anything from the plantation to keep things afloat. Now, Anne, back home in Ireland, kind of a badass chick. When she was only 10 or 12 years old, so about Tessa's age, she actually killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly. So, again, your age, she's killing people. Kind of want to put that mentality of this young lady as we kind of go through her whole story. Fast forward, the building's done in 1713, pirates are coming through town in 1715. Anne is stoked because she's going to fall in love and get her freedom just like a man. Guy number 1, yes, I'm going to keep tally, there's a handful. Guy number 1 turns out to be James Bonney. You can already see where this one's going, right? Dad didn't approve, he's a filthy pirate, they run away to Jamaica, they get married, Anne Cormac is now Anne Bonny. However, this is not Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. Right, so this guy's a privateer. He's a spy for the British. This is not who she wants. He's a coward. A few years later, she falls in love again. This guy's name is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. This is the real person that they based your Captain Jack Sparrow Disney character off of, by the way, and he does have his own ship. So, Anne wants to be part of it. You can't put a girl on a pirate crew. Does anybody know why?
You have to marry her first.
No. Bad luck, right. Females on a pirate ship are bad luck. So, he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and hide your gender, you can be part of the crew, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this because Dad back home in Ireland used to cross-dress her as an apprentice boy to keep her away from his wife. So she's like, whatever, it's a man's world, let's do this. I'm a pirate. But most of us are adults here. Put 2 and 2 together, being a female in his quarters, she's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl.
One big bear.
Yeah. So he actually drops her off in Cuba before she starts the show. Have the baby here, we'll come back for you, we'll figure it out later. She goes and has the baby, but returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to this child. She's also dressed like a female. She doesn't care anymore about hiding her gender. While she was away giving birth to Jack's child, he captured another pirate crew and they're down below deck. Anne's gonna go flirting with that pirate crew to make Jack even more mad because that's what Anne does. We're on guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females dressed as males on the same ship. Now, this young lady's name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. So sometimes you get the name Mark here, just so you know. Her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers. We're never going to know for certain, just so you know. But the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of ships after them to take down one pirate ship. Anne and Mary are the only 2 not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet flintlocks because they probably don't know how to use the cannons yet. Now, obviously 2 ladies taking on a fleet of ships is not going to get, going to work out for them in their favor. So as they're being arrested, she looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack, and says, "You should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." So the word dog shows up here quite a bit on your spirit boxes. The judge, his name is Nicholas Laws. He wants to see the 2 men that fought back so valiantly on their own after he's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't come up and fight. So, the Calico Jack and the crew are dead. Anne and Mary go in front, they reveal their gender. He doesn't care that they're female. They were hoping to save themselves, but they're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. "We plead our bellies," was the last thing they said, both claiming to be pregnant. You can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So, he delays the hanging, sends them both back to jail. Dad is still here in the Charlestown area. He brings Anne back home, because he's got all of his Irish money. He was an attorney back home. He brings her back home, she remarries, that's husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary, has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. Yes, very abrupt ending. What happened to Mary Reed? She died a year later in 1721 from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. Most articles will say fever. I call BS on that one. I'm sure it was very scurrilous and nasty. Use your imagination. So, for all of you spirit box that you guys want to actually work with in here, I only left out 2 questions. I'm not going to go through an assignment like what I did at the Pinky Mansion. You all know what the hell you guys are doing by now, but you've been a very fun group, I will say that. This has been very lively for me. I left out the name of Anne Bonny's parents. I'm sure some of you may have noticed that. That would be the father and his mistress. So you can ask what her parents' names were. I also left out the name of Calico Jack's ship. So you can ask what that is as well. As far as with yours, I want you to focus. You are going to use the motion sensor in here. Okay. And I want you to focus on what Anne Bonny's hair color was. Okay. I'm hoping she's going to show you. Okay. We do not expect colors and numbers, so your other device, it's all about pictures for you here. Those of you with cameras, you can go around to the front of the powder magazine and get some footage and or photographs. I ask that you just don't get in the way of the other tours. That's my biggest concern. Just let them do their thing and move on, and we're going to go up and get some footage. I'm going to steal you guys for one more minute. Before we start separating, because this is our last stop, I would always like to tell you guys why I give that heated warning at the beginning of the tour that I did. So, back in September of last year, I brought my entire group back here. The kid next to me, and I call him a kid because he was probably lower 20s, much older than that guy. But anyway, he starts to drop like a wet noodle, white as a ghost. Like I have to pick him up by his armpit, like so he doesn't hit his head on the pavement. Well, his boyfriend picks him up from the other side of him, and we get him over to that wall. He starts to feel better after I get him a bottle of water and the whole nine. I then tell them the story I just told you. So they don't know anything about Ann Bonny. I separate everybody with their devices, and them two pull me aside and say, Nick, we have to tell you, we are two transgender males. Meaning I had two females dressed as males, just like Ann and Mary from the story, on my tour. And it made complete sense as to why one of them felt faint as soon as we entered the space. These are the things that happen in my groups that I can't explain, and that's why I give those warnings. Psychics and mediums normally don't make it past the Pinckney Mansion site. Those 80 milligauss readings, they're dropping, and I gotta call paramedics. It happens all the time. I don't want to say all the time. I will probably say twice, 3 times a year. So again, that to me is enough. So the first time somebody passed out, I was actually in CPR class the next day. Yeah, it scared the hell out of me. New guy out on the streets, I have no idea what I'm doing yet, and somebody drops like a wet noodle because some psychic thought she was going to go ghost hunting with me and have a great time. I'm like, yeah, you're supposed to tell me these things. So, again, let's have some fun in this space. I'm actually going to go park it over there by that wall and then start bouncing around with you guys. You guys already know what you're doing with all your devices by now. I thought I actually did pretty well. You guys were an easy group. All right, good deal. All right, so let's have some fun. Spread out. You got yours recording, Dave?
All right, it's on.
All right, good deal. Let's do this. What letters do you have before we separate?
Nothing intelligent. It was going off the whole time.
It's EI, the magical chimp. Don't you think it's cool how old these buildings are? Still nothing like your last tours?
Huh?
Still nothing like your last tours?
no. Totally.
Do you enjoy this more or less?
I don't, because they're so different. I mean, there's really not a comparison. Like, I love totally into history and stuff. So the other ones that we do, I mean, totally scratch that history itch when you're wanting to really get into like the history of a new city.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
the other ones are usually a lot more people.
Well, we're hoping we get the horse-drawn carriage tour tomorrow that fills in a lot of the blanks that I was hoping to hear in this.
Yeah, see, we did just a normal walking tour yesterday morning. That gave you more information about like the actual history of the city. And, like we had already heard about the earthquake bolts and the indigo background with Eliza and things like that, because we had done that tour yesterday. So you'll definitely get like those gaps filled in.
I don't get these earthquake straps.
Oh, the earthquake bolts?
So
Yeah,
it
they're
looks like
all
there's
over.
one bolt per cross instead of 2 or 3 where you tighten it up and it would bring it together. If it's one in the middle, how does that work?
It's a groin vaulted ceiling inside.
Oh,
There's no rafters.
okay, got it.
It's solid.
There you go. Makes sense.
So this building has them on both sides, as you can see.
Yes.
This one should only have, like, I don't even know if it has it on the other side. I don't think I've ever even seen it, because the cottage is on the other side of this, and I think it's in the way. But yeah, it's not going to have it going through the front, because it's full, it's solid.
You know what's funny is we're staying in this hotel. I think this is the hotel we're staying in.
You guys are down around the corner, I think.
Oh, we are. I could have sworn I was looking at this one, but
It's not this
I've gone by this. I went on a bike ride this morning. Right, this building is the one that just captured my imagination.
There's a lot that goes on here.
Yeah.
Now that I've been investigating it for 2 years, yeah. At first, I didn't believe any of the stories that were told about this place, because I had a season pass to this place because they get books, like local books, quicker than anybody else. So I had a season pass just to get the discount on the books inside for research. And then it was like, I started investigating, and I'm like, shit, there actually is quite a bit going on here. So again, it's a hit or miss. We'll see what goes on. We do have a few extra clues going on. I don't know who's going to their car.
It said little boy and all the brothers.
Turn this off.
It just said
Turn it off. I don't know where they. Oh, they already got in.
no more.